Hello and welcome. I am Andreas, co-founder of PolarFux. This right here is my home office situation. And this is my little assistant for mental health here. Normally, I am working here in our great office in the 2nd district of Vienna. But yeah, COVID situation, we're in our home offices. This right here is my friend and business partner Gregor, and this over here is Lisa, our illustration genius. And together we are PolarFux and we do stuff like this. Everything started in 2013 when Gregor and I founded PolarFux. We were both coming from very classic agencies, full service agencies. So we did some more full service oriented things like corporate designing, logo designing, web design. But it just took a few months when we realized we wanted to do something different. We wanted to specialize in one field and we wanted to do something that we love, we know we were good at, and what's not everyone's superpower. And for us, this was animation and design, combining the two, including story. So it more and more shifted towards animated content. At first started with explainers mostly, and more social media spots. And then we started to have interns, and one of the interns was Lisa. And after she graduated, she began to work for us, and we're very happy. And this is now the team, our setup, we love. And now with Lisa's great illustration skills, new opportunities opened up, and our work started to grow even more. It's very important for us not only to work for clients and agencies, but to work for us, to have some side projects. Because for one, we can work on them when we have downtime. And also it's good to try out new things, to create stuff that doesn't make money on the short run, but maybe on the long run, because we learn so much from it. And this mural on the wall of our office, we did for our Christmas project party. We blocked 2 days before the holidays and just wanted to have a good time and do this mural. That's a thing that we've never done before. And that is essentially what I wanted to talk about mostly today, to grow on things that you've never done before.
So with this mural, we learned how to transfer an illustration from Lisa on our big white wall. I talked to some street artists to get some advice and how to handle this, what to take in concern. And they gave some tips like use a beamer, outline everything very lightly, and start with the brightest paint first. The whole process was a great experience. We're probably never going to do this professionally for a client, but it got us away from our screens. It got us to work together directly, and to break out of the usual and have fun. And from the very beginning of PolarFux, we did some animated Christmas greetings. We called them Fuchsmas, and just to break out. Take a look.
And this Fuchsmess
animations are where we try new things, where we just have fun with stupid ideas and some crazy stuff going on. So last year, Gregor was very eager to do another hands-on movie for Fuchsmess to try something. And yeah, we blocked 2 days and did this little animation. As you can tell, this was very funny creating. We had a great funny time, not taking things too seriously. Also, fun fact, Gregor was the special sound effects guy here, and yeah, he really liked it. But why do I start with this kind of work? Because these things are the ones that are motivating us. They keep us motivated. They help us to progress. They help us to be brave with new ideas and help us to bring new ideas and creativity into client projects. And as you know, client project work can be very intimidating. So it's not easy to work with new styles, new techniques when you are working with clients, because you don't want to mess things up. And you certainly don't want to risk too much. But sometimes, even if it's scary, it is the best thing that could happen. So some of our best things were based on we have no idea what are we going to do. So I would say it's worth trying to risk something here. And this brings me to one of our projects I would love to share with you, where exactly this was the case. We did this project for the Wirtschaftskammer Wien. Their agency came to us and invited us and gave us a brief. And that said something like this. Explain the importance and advances of temporary work to young people, make it entertaining and cool looking, and it should stand out and have a modern style. Sounds really nice, sounds great. We want to have it to be looking cool as well. We wanted to impress the agency. We want them to work with us more often. So we proposed 3 styles, very different styles, but every style had a certain new part in it.
we never did before. So the first one was 3D combination with the other one was intense animal character animation, and the third one was mixing stop motion with 2D animation. The client chose the stop motion part, the stop motion thing, and we thought, yeah, great. We wanted to do something like that in a long time. So let's just have a look at the clip, and then we'll talk about the process, struggles, and the learnings of that project.
Anton braucht Arbeit. Samir braucht Sicherheit. Nina braucht einfach mal was Neues. Und Ulrich als Unternehmer braucht Mitarbeiter. Was alle brauchen, ist Zeitarbeit. Doch was heißt Zeitarbeit überhaupt? Zeitarbeit heißt, dass du bei einem Personaldienstleister angestellt bist. Die Arbeit erledigst du jedoch in einem anderen Unternehmen für einen bestimmten Zeitraum. Danach hast du Chancen auf weitere Jobs, während du beim Personaldienstleister angestellt bleibst. Oder das Unternehmen möchte dich sogar behalten. Zeitarbeit heißt aber genauso, dass wenn Unternehmen Hilfe brauchen, ein Personaldienstleister die richtigen Mitarbeiter findet. In beiden Fällen braucht man sich keine Gedanken machen, denn um die Bezahlung und die dazugehörigen Ansprüche, wie zum Beispiel Urlaubs- und Weihnachtsgeld, kümmert sich der Personaldienstleister. Für dich als Arbeitnehmer hat das viele Vorteile. Mit nur einer Bewerbung hast du Zugang zu unzähligen Jobs. Außerdem helfen dir die Personaldienstleister bei allem, was du brauchst. Sie erkennen dein Potenzial und bereiten dich mit Tipps und Tricks auf Unternehmen vor. Du kannst loslegen und durchstarten. Und zwar immer da, wo du gerade gebraucht wirst und arbeiten möchtest. Du bekommst alles, was dir zusteht. Ein unbefristetes, faires und klar geregeltes Arbeitsverhältnis. Und genauso viele Vorteile hat Zeitarbeit für Unternehmen. Egal ob Mitarbeiter für den wichtigen Großauftrag fehlen oder ein Spezialist perfekt ins neue Team passen soll. Mit Zeitarbeit haben Unternehmen viel mehr Möglichkeiten. Sie reagieren besser auf die wirtschaftliche Situation, können sich auf das Kerngeschäft konzentrieren und sind sofort wettbewerbsfähiger. Denn Zeitarbeit ist zeitgemäß, schafft Jobs und ist fair. Und alle brauchen sie. Die Arbeitnehmer, die Unternehmen und die Wirtschaft. Hier ist jeder an der richtigen Stelle. Alle brauchen Zeitarbeit.at.
So at first, of course, we built the story and the storyboard. So we wanted it to have the visuals supporting the narrator in a more metaphorical way, so it's interesting and unexpected. Also, it should be very playful and should be fun to watch in vibrant colors. At the same time, we did some style frames. Not only was it important for us how it would look like, but it was also very important to think about what the stop motion objects are doing and what should be added digitally. It was very important for us to have a good preparation. So production-wise, the biggest questions were, what knowledge do we need to achieve this? Like what kind of workflows, what background knowledge, what practice do we need before doing this? Then what tools do we need to achieve this? So what software, what props do we need? What hardware tools do we need to build the props? And what other people and resources do we need to achieve this? So we needed photography, lighting, studio equipment, all new things we had to think about. So at first we asked a befriended animation studio who already did some stop motion work, bigger ones even than this one. And so they could tell us how their approach was and what could give us some tips and what to watch out and what tools to use. What's very helpful. So one big learning was always ask people with experience for advice, because most of the time they'd love to help anyway, because we are creative people, we love to share. So we got a photographer we knew very well, and he had the knowledge how to light the scenes. We also rented or bought the equipment, the lights, the backdrop paper, and lots of little clamps to make stuff fly and hang. And we got the super duper software, Dragon Frame stop motion software, and we also ordered all the necessary props we needed from the internet or from shops or Baumarkt. Based on the storyboard, we created the scene in very simple 3D. This was very important because we wanted to underlay the animation, the 3D animation, in the actual shooting. So we could then animate it as smooth as we animated it on the computer. So we just had to rebuild the scene based on our templates. It was very important. Also, it was very important to know how we could build some things up and what to change, how to make the whole stop motion animation work. The biggest learning of this one was the importance of planning. Planning and preparation, especially when you work in teams with new different creatives, what has to be done and who is doing what. This was very, very important. And because we had no experience at all with this kind of project, we decided to make the studio in our office. So the office was our studio. We had control. We were flexible with time. We had lots of possibilities to try things out and not to have to watch the time. And it was learning as we go. So it was a very safe environment. One thing was to learn, we had to get rid of all the daylight outside and to hang black molten rugs over the windows. So there is no different light than the studio light setup, because it would be inconsistent lighting and would end up in flickering. The footage would flicker at the end. So we were prepared, ready to go. And the shooting took about 3 days, from 8 in the morning until 10 in the evening. But because we had such a good dynamic in the team, it was no stress with timing. Everybody was having fun, and it was great. The cool thing was we were in this boat together. It was new for everyone. And so we get together to solve problems. For example, we had this sugar cube scene where we thought it would be pretty easy to pull off, but we had to stick the cubes on this tiny piece of paper and drag it through in the perfect timing. It was not that easy, but the photographer tried to glue positions switched, and we just wanted to make it happen, make it cool, make it look good. So another one was the balloon scene, where we had different approaches to have the balloon blow up, until we realized, okay, it's better not to have them blow up, really, but to let some air get out and kind of time lapse the whole scene. There were balloons exploding, and they didn't land at the very end of it on the right side, so it took much time to have this work out as well. But there is another learning I had from this. This is to embrace the failing and the trying and the learning of the whole process. So we finally had all the shots, and there were lots of raw camera footage. The next new thing to learn was how to handle all this footage and all this stuff, and how to make it look good and professional, and composite it with the 2D animations. Luckily, that step went very well and was not that big of a challenge for us, because it was very close to our own workflows we did already. So from there on, it was all comfort zone. So compositing the scenes, animating the 2D elements, and adding some cell animation extras. The client was happy. We were very happy, and that we had something new in our portfolio was great for us. So I just can tell you one: try out a new style. Pick 1, 2, 3 new styles you want to explore. Look if you have some people around that already had some experience with this, and take their advice. Ask them. Don't be shy. Find a short story, not too much. Don't overwhelm yourself. find a small story where you can use this new style, technique, whatever it is, and try it out. You will have great experience from it, promise. And here I got a little short making of from this whole project. The other project I want to talk about was one of the most challenging, fearful projects ever, but with many learnings. And this was the opening film for the OFFF Vienna last year. The two organizers came to us and asked if we were interested in working on the opening movie for the event. Well, first we thought, what? Oh my God, doing animation for the OFFF. This is way too big for us. How should we ever pull something off that would be cool enough for this? And what we said was, yeah, super cool. We'd love to. Yeah, we do it. So for the first time, very first time, big live creative audience. Scary. But they also said, and it would be great if you can then talk about the projects live on stage. So yeah, of course, awesome. First time a live talk in English. And then they said, we want you to work with these guys because they're doing live action and they're great. And we'd love to see a collaboration on that. And we said, yeah, great. We didn't know any one of them. But yeah, live action and animation, new. Collaboration with strangers, new. After the meeting, Gregor and I were emotionally very confused. We were extremely excited to do this and extremely anxious to do this. So there were many fears to overcome, many unknown territory. But yeah, we are explorers and we couldn't let this opportunity pass. So no way, we are not going to do this. So we met again in the office of the OFFF and met our soon-to-be collaborators. This was Martin and Katja from Spine Productions and Eyüp Kuş. Spine Productions are doing camera work and have a photo studio for doing portrait shots and stuff. And Eyüp already did the sound and music for last year's OFFF opening titles. And he also directed plenty of video projects. So this was good to have someone in the boat who knew the process a bit. And the brief basically was have fun and do something great. Again, before I go behind the scenes and tell you about it, I'm gonna show you the final piece. because the project brief was so open and everyone wanted to do something incredible that he or she loves, we had to get to know each other. We didn't, so Polarfox, Gregor, me and Lisa didn't know any one of these guys. But we had to find out how is everyone ticking, what are the overlaps of interest and creative thinking, and how are their personalities. So they still were complete strangers to us, and this was a very unusual approach for us to work with someone we don't know. We don't really know much about their work either. So it was kind of like a first blind date, but with 6 people. At the next date, we already shared some thoughts and ideas about styles and what techniques anyone wants to show off or experiment with. And we discussed some early mood boards and looked at many videos, really many videos. So no one ever worked on a film like this. Telling a story, including the mixture of live footage and 2D animation, was new for everyone. So at first we had very frustrating misunderstandings and communication issues. We had to clarify, we had to find a workflow for our work, of course. We all wanted this film to be the best we ever made. So we agreed on one very important thing, being honest. So you don't like the style, tell me. You don't like the ending of the story, tell me. You don't like the shot, tell me what you don't like. But tell it respectful and tell it so everyone understands. So be constructive. This is one of the biggest learning. Be open for the people, for the other people's ideas, and give constructive and honest feedback. And always be respectful. So we narrowed our moods down so we can continue to move on. But we focus too much on how we do it rather than how is the story. What are we going to tell? One thing was clear. We wanted weird creatures, some glow, fog, fluids, and a macro lens feeling. This is something we thought would be nice to work on, nice to have, and nice to tell a story with. The animation workflow of Polarfox is very planned. It's a very controlled process with minor surprises. So whereas the Spine production and Eyüp are very experimental, very much of filming live and having more let's see what happens approach. So this is where we started to understand that everyone's working differently, but not better or worse, just different. But most importantly, that we can learn from each other's approaches and combine it into one big superpower and find and see what may happen. So biggest learning here for me was to trust your collaborators, your collaboration partners, and to stop try to control everything. So at first it was a big challenge to build a story everyone fell in love with. But when we sat down together, one thing was clear, we all had in common, and that was a good sense of humor. For us, a good sense of humor. And that's where we all agreed to take humor into this project and have it a bit, so it's a big part of the film, the movie. As the story was built, we worked on the first character designs and style frames. We knew we wanted some quirky, freaky creatures in this kind of strange world. Everybody loved the look, but we were quite uncertain about the background. Where are the strange inhabitants living? Spine Productions and Eyüp had to do some test shootings. We knew the backdrop should be live footage and the creatures should be animated and illustrated. So they sat down, thought about materials, effects, what could be used, and then they brought everything up together in the studio of Spine Productions and built kind of real small world. Then there was this one idea that changed everything, and that was black light. Eyüp then made up a shortcut of the footage, and everyone was super happy. We loved it. We immediately started to work out some style frames, now based on this still images of the footage. We especially loved the look and the feel of the eel. And since this black light in the footage was such an interesting part, we wanted the creatures also to glow, make it even more connected together visually. So we knew this kind of footage works perfectly with the 2D assets we had in mind. So the next step for us was to create a storyboard. Normally, our storyboards are very concrete, very clear, compositions, shot sizes, assets, characters. But since we didn't exactly know how the filmed material was going to be like, was going to look like, what the scenes would be, because it was very experimental, we put a storyboard together that was more focused on the story structure and the possible creatures. So we built the storyboard a little bit based on the footage we get, or let's say we hope we might get. So we tried us various compositions that could carry the story. Also, the storyboard we did before the actual shooting. We gave the storyboard to Martin, Katja, and Eyob, and they did try to find compositions that are as close as it can get to the storyboard. Then when we got the raw edit of the footage, we put together this rough animatic by just simply drawing the characters and some other stuff directly onto the footage. This helped us to figure out what characters should there be in the final piece and what kind of movements, actions should there take place. We can also know where interactions with the real life footage are possible, or where we have to mask things, or where tracking is necessary. So we knew all this then. The next step was to illustrate the characters, to have a consistent look. And it was important for us to have more simple shapes so we can work with these shapes better in the animation we had in mind. We illustrated various versions of each creature so to see which one is the best looking and works perfectly with the animation, and which one's got the better color. So the illustrations actually were just templates for the recreation in After Effects. The reason for that was because we wanted a very fluid and squishy look of the creatures. It was necessary to rebuild them as shapes. So we had more control over the animation and could work with effects without losing quality on the final result. This here was the very first try of integrating a creature into the footage. The thin-legged pickle dog mutant thing was a simple combination of shape forms to test the squishy fluent animation and the transition between the shapes. And unfortunately, this pretty boy didn't make it into the movie, but I assure you he's fine. He's having great retirement on our backup mansion. So step by step, we built the scenes. We created the creatures, we animated them and integrated them in the footage. And all based on the initial animatic, as close as we can get. To get some flexibility in the final cut, we added some 1 second before and 1 second afterwards to have the possibility to be flexible when it comes to cutting the whole thing. There were many learnings in this project. And that all helped us in future projects. Besides the technical and skill stuff we learned, one of the biggest learning was how to collaborate with different minds, with different creatives that we don't know that good. But this can bring your work to real next levels. Having all these different perspectives come together, and it makes it possible to do work you wouldn't be able to do on your own, because it's more different minds. So I tell you this: try to find another person that wants to level up their game as well. Something where you can match those two skill sets you have and team up. I promise you'll be more motivated and driven to do something and to finalize something. And this will really double the experience you get and the learning. There are so many first times out there in the creative business. Overwhelmingly many. So, what should you learn next? What should you try next? A question that's probably hunting me forever and still is. So I can't give you an answer on that. The only thing I can say is try. Try new things out. Try new processes. Be open. Try what you're interested in and listen to your gut, what feels best for you. This is probably the way to go. Because by trying out new things, be it a technique, a workflow, a collaboration, whatever it is, you'll find out what you like and what you don't like. And that's essentially what we do when we gain experiences. So experiences determine who we are as people and also who we are as creatives. So this is it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the Q&A. Bye.